What's the weirdest thing you've seen happen at a friend's house that they thought was normal? When I was in high school, a friend asked me and two other friends to his house for dinner. His mom served homemade bean soup, which was very good. Toward the end of the main course, she brought out chocolate cake for dessert. She cut each of us a slice and plopped it into our bowls, in which we each still had about an inch of soup. Us guests exchanged puzzled glances, but the family dug right in, so apparently chocolate cake soaked in bean soup was an ordinary thing for them. When I was like 10 or 11, a new kid moved into our town and started at our school. I was always super nice to new kids because I moved a bit and changed schools a bit. I knew how hard it was. We made friends and he had me over for a sleepover. He decided to show me a Polaroid picture of his mother having sex with a dog. I was just like, what the fuck dude, let's play Nintendo. My childhood best friend lived with his grandparents. His grandfather was a clockmaker, he mostly restored them. Their large two-story house's walls were covered in old restored grandfather and cuckoo clocks. Each one had a small sticker with a number so he could keep track of them all. The highest number I saw was over 700. I would say 25% of them were wound, so every hour you were treated to a symphony of clocks. I didn't appreciate it when I was a kid, but those clocks were fantastic pieces of workmanship. This happened when I was like 6. I needed to use the bathroom at a friend's house and he led me to his parents' bathroom. The place was filled with crap of all sorts. Boxes, magazines, an inflatable pool, lots of other stuff. You could barely get in there. He pulled out a drawer from the installed cabinet by the entryway and said to pee in there. I thought he was joking until he went ahead and peed in there himself. I couldn't argue with that, so I too peed right in there. Then he shut the drawer and we went and played more Ninja Turtles. I have no idea what became of that drawer, house, family. Rich friend's family had rooms not touched in weeks that had vomit on the bedsheets from one of their parties. Someone was in the bathroom, so the kid who lived there went into the back garden, took a shit in the flower bed and shoveled dirt on top of it. The bathroom was free by the time he'd finished. When I was a kid, the neighbor's TV was always at 75% volume or higher. They'd literally sit in the living room and scream at each other over the TV on blast. I had a friend in high school whose mother was from Jamaica. His family would cleanse together every year. I guess it was customary from his mom's culture. So literally they'd take medicine to make themselves shit their brains out for a day or two every year. Notable mention, they only had one bathroom. I have an opposite one because I had the weird family. In high school I had a sleepover and one friend went to the kitchen in the middle of the night and saw my dad inebriated, in his underwear and stained shirt, on his knees in front of the fridge drinking mustard out of the bottle. Monday rolls around and the rumors have spread and I was like, wait. All your dads don't do that too? Lol. By the way, he did in fact have his own separate mustard bottle. A roughly 4 feet long python roaming free around the room at a gathering with guests. Snack was chill as fuck, but still. When I was 9 or 10 I stayed at this friend's house for the first time. So we were sitting at the kitchen table eating noodles and his mum said something, to which he screamed back at her, "Get fucked, Sharon." She didn't even bat an eyelid, didn't even care. I couldn't help thinking what would happen if I tried that at home. It would have been at least an ass whooping. His mom walking around topless barking a chore list while we just sat around the coffee table working on homework. She was a single mom working multiple jobs. They were latchkey kids. They didn't even bat an eyelash, but the minute she saw a new face sitting on the rug boring a hole into the distant wall, she shifted on a dime. Ducked into the mudroom, threw on her bra and work shirt, and brought out a carton of Oreos from a secret stash and was pretty much shocked into silence. I think she was terrified I'd misappropriate it to my parents, but all we cared about was cookies. Everyone took their shirts off at the dinner table. Yeah. Serve ice cream with their hands. X5? Amount of smoke alarm battery warning, beeps, all going off every 10 minutes. No need to replace the batteries. Just get used to the beeps going off randomly, and then sometimes all at the same time. How do you live, or even sleep with that happening? A neighbor's dad was an avid fisherman and he used these electrode things in the lawn to get worms to come up that he was gonna use as bait. He would also eat some of the first ones to come up to check if they tasted right. If not, he would remove the electrodes and try again another day. In 6th grade, one would go over to my friend's house. Her mom was very sexual. She would hardcore make out with her boyfriend on the couch in front of us kids. She once showed me a picture of a basketball team and said she dated every one of the men in that photo. The worst part is how she would rub her fingers against their little Yorkie's penis and say, "Do you like your willy-dilly rubbed?" God damn you op for unlocking this memory. My friend's mom always gave me a box of food when I came over. One day as I left she just handed me a box of Hot Pockets. As if it was just a small trinket. Jesus. This thread is, eat hot dogs with ranch, or, openly molested by family members with nothing in between. One time I was at my friend's house while his dad was working late. His mom brought home 2 Little Caesars pizzas for us, his brother and his parents. By the time his dad got home from work, there was no pizza. So his dad just made himself a salad for dinner and no one got screamed at until they cried. Who is the most overrated person in history? The fact that we're talking about the entirety of history and people are bringing up the Kardashians is kinda concerning, to be honest. King Tut. He didn't really do much, he was just a boy who unfortunately died young. We just happened to find his tomb and that made him famous lol. The tomb itself, while amazing and much to learn from, is a result of his culture and the line he happened to be born into, not really anything he chose to do. Mississippi. Edit. Shit, wrong thread. Waldo. He has no discernible talents, fashion sense, or accomplishments. People should stop looking for him as they are giving him a god complex. Jack the Ripper. He only has 5 confirmed kills. Amateur hour. Thomas Alva Edison. An absolute douche that is remembered for things he never did. Pretty much everyone who has a show because their family was rich. Sorts by controversial. Paul Revere. He was much less important in the Revolutionary War than most people think. There are more obscure patriots from his time that did more for America than him. Overall, one of those people who isn't bad but gets way too much credit. Half of the people here answering like op said the last 40 years. Y'all clearly don't understand the concept of overrated. If everybody fucking hates the Kardashians, they're not overrated. Christopher Columbus. Dude didn't even find those places first. King Arthur. Strange women lying in ponds distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. Supreme executive power derives from a mandate from the masses, not from some farcical aquatic ceremony. Reagan. He gets a lot praise from certain folks, but he and his administration started many of the problems that are plaguing the US now. Greg in accounting. Ooh, look at me, I know math. Fuck off Greg. Hitler. Hear me out. National Socialism and anti-Semitism was not something he invented, and I am pretty sure that if it wasn't for him somebody else like Goebbels or Hess would have become German dictator. When people say, oh if only Hitler wasn't born then WW2 or the Shoah would not have happened, that's utter bullshit. I wish while teaching about the Holocaust, people would put it into context. The climate of polarization in the 1920s in Germany is very similar to what is going on now in the USA. People were and are seeking out extremists with conspiracy theories to follow because they look for scapegoats. The man on the top is just a symptom for a systemic problem which lies much deeper. Mother Teresa. Balto. Togo did the hard part. Not in all history, but Chris McCandless was a fucking moron who does not deserve to be romanticized. Against all advice, he strolled out into the Alaskan wilderness with no idea what he was doing, with no map, underprepared, undersupplied and with no research into seasonal dangers, smashed up some cabins, shot a moose despite not being able to preserve or store the meat, thought he could teach himself to identify edible wild mushrooms, didn't look beyond the river crossing he initially used where he would have found a hand-operated cable car half a mile away and died probably from eating strange seeds in an abandoned bus on a known hunting trail. And X200B. He was not pioneering, or inspiring, or bold, or free, he was fucking stupid and somehow this inspires people. Che Guevara. Why does everyone wear stuff with his picture?